Hello, I'm Ramiro Vasquez. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.
Hi everyone, John Liebman here. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com. We're coming to you today on location from the 2018 Summer NAMM Show, Nashville, Tennessee, with our good friend Ramiro Vasquez.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Did I pronounce your name right?
Sir, you did.
Okay. Oh, good. The hard part is over. It's great to meet you. You've got a very popular band that you've been associated with in Bolivia, Avionica.
Yes.
Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, you did.
Ooh, I'm really doing well, 2 for 2. But let's talk about what led up to that. You were born in Bolivia, and you grew up there. So tell me about your initial exposure to music. Do you come from a musical family? Were there records playing? Brothers and sisters? Were your parents musical? How were you first exposed to music?
Actually, I am the only musician in my family. My dad owned a restaurant, so there was live music every weekend. So that's kind of what was my influence almost when I was growing up. I picked up the piano when I was 5.
You picked up the piano?
I picked it up, yeah. And picked up the bass when I was 15. So I just kind of, learned from the piano, basically.
Did you have a piano in the house?
I did. Well, it was electric piano.
Yeah, okay.
But that was it.
Well, what made you gravitate to the bass? That's kind of a curious transition, unless there was something that inspired you specifically.
Well, I played cello for a year when I came.
You skipped that.
Yeah, for a year. And so when I moved back to Bolivia, it was...
Excuse me, you're jumping ahead. Back to Bolivia from where?
I came to visit my sister in the U.S. She lived in the United States.
Okay, where?
In Virginia.
Okay.
And so I picked up the cello when I was there. Just kind of joined a symphony orchestra, I guess, when I was. And
you played for a year, and you were good enough to join a symphony orchestra?
Well, it was a school one, so I mean, it was very basic, But when I moved back to Bolivia, there was no cellos around, and the closest thing to it was a bass. So, so I saved up enough money to buy a cheapest Yamaha, model, and just kind of left off from there. And actually, I started playing at my church, so that's kind of where I got involved a lot more. And yeah.
Okay. Well, if you know anything about the history of bass, the double bass was actually invented because the cellos just weren't getting it done. So they needed to support that. That's why they play the cello line an octave lower, doubling the cello line. That's why it's called a double bass. So bass players to the rescue. Boy, you speak good English. Well, once you discovered the bass and started playing it, did you have any, who were your bass heroes, if any, musical influences that played the bass?
Abraham Laboriel was one of them. Jaco Pastorius, obviously, for a lot of them, and just whoever I could watch. Back then, we didn't have YouTube. We didn't have all these internet things. So I mean, it's basically going out and looking for somebody that was playing music outside and then live, and just kind of watching and seeing what they were doing, and just kind of curious, and listening to cassette tapes and CDs and all that. So.
Was there a pretty vibrant music scene where you lived in Bolivia?
Not at all. So I mean, we were all hungry to just go find something, and whatever was going on out there, we'd try to get a grasp on. So it was great.
So what about Avionica? How did that come to be? Were you an initial member, or did you join the band after it already existed?
No, after it already existed, I'm good friends with the singer. We known each other from school. So the lead singer gave me a call about 3 years ago, said he needed to put a band for just the local gigs in Bolivia. And so we put up a band and just kind of settle off from there. I mean, it just burst big, basically. I mean, we've been playing sold out shows in the last 3 years, last 3 years. It's been great. It's a wonderful experience to play with him. And it's pop rock. He was recently named just representative of Bolivia on Spotify as it's something cool for him. So it's a great gig.
That's great. I know the band has a huge following, and I've seen some YouTube videos. Good stuff. I should mention we are at the Warwick and Framus booth. I think we see mostly guitars around us, not too many basses. I guess guitars are a little more popular than basses. We know that. But tell me about your Warwick bass. Which model do you play?
I am playing the Infinity 5. It's a wonderful instrument, very versatile instrument, and also light because it's chambered, and just electronics are crazy on it. I can do single coils, I can do humbucker, I can change. I mean, love to talk about it. I can sit all day here and talk about that bass.
Well, I don't know about all day, but tell me a little bit more about it.
Well, it's a beautiful instrument. It's just the wood on it is beautiful, but it's very comfortable. It just sits perfectly and just, it lets you play it very comfortably. I don't know.
Have you ever been over to the Warwick factory in Magnerkirchen, Germany?
No, I'd love to go though.
I've been there 3 times, I think. When you say it was light, I can't help but think of the Jonas Hellborg bass they have on the wall, and I picked it up. It weighs like 40 pounds. Can you imagine that on your... And I've seen him play it, too. I said, why is that so heavy? Well, I don't know. It's just my bass.
Yeah. And that's been my experience with Warwicks before. Just very, solid, thick, heavy instruments. And that's why I love this instrument because, on my current gig, I'm doing 2 to 3 hour gigs. So, you kind of need a lighter instrument. And this has worked perfectly, yes.
Yeah. And I just mentioned that as an example. Most of Warwick's basses are nowhere nearly that heavy. And I've been in the showroom there in Germany, and then they have one here in Nashville, and just got to try out so many Warwick basses, and they are all great. I love them. When you say 5, so you have the low B, I assume? Okay, because sometimes people will put a high C on there, but light B. What's keeping you busy these days?
Well, I'm still doing the Avionica gig. I recently came back from Bolivia 3 weeks ago. We did a Bolivia tour, which was beautiful. It was great.
But you live here in Nashville, right?
I do live here in Nashville, yes. My family and I live here, and I'm currently playing with an artist. His name is Chris Higbee. He's from the Ohio area, and we have the whole summer filled with gigs, and I'm actually shipping out tomorrow for 10 days. Wow. So it's great. We're having a lot of fun on the road. I'm playing the Infinity 5, and it's working out perfectly.
Doesn't get any better, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
What about the future? Is there something that, you've been at this music game for a long time. You've done a lot of stuff. Is there anything else that you've always wanted to do that you just haven't gotten around to yet?
I am actually living it right now. I did not know it was going to carry me out, this way. I actually studied digital media in college.
Oh, really?
And just kind of did that for a little bit. But, music has just been following me for all these years, and I'm just kind of, enjoying the ride right now. I don't know what else is coming up.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then, one more question. If you can imagine, what would you be if you weren't a bass player? Something outside of music.
Oh, wow, that's a good question. I've always enjoyed teaching. I think as a teacher, I would be happy. I think just explaining things to just showing people what I kind of know what to do. It's been something I always like to do. So maybe a teacher.
Giving back is always an admirable feature for anybody. Well, great. Well, great meeting you, getting to know you, and I've been exposing myself to your music and enjoying it very much. So keep doing what you're doing, and we will keep enjoying it.
Well, thank you, John. It's been a pleasure to meet you, too.
Thank you. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
On location at the 2018 Summer NAMM Show, Nashville, Tennessee, with our friend Ramiro Vasquez. I'm John Liebman. You're watching for BassPlayersOnly.com.